Dad, Mom, this is Emma, the woman I want to marry. Pleased to meet you. I'm looking forward to getting to know you. I was very nervous when I first went to my in-laws' house to announce our engagement. By nature, I'm not very vocal about my thoughts, and my ability to speak diminishes even more when I'm nervous. My mother-in-law gave me a warm smile. "What a reserved young lady," she said. Her words brought me some relief, but I was unaware of the secrets this family held. My name is Emma. This summer marks the first one Tom and I will spend together as a married couple. Since we both work, our only long breaks are during Thanksgiving and New Year's. Thanksgiving came 3 months after our wedding, so we went to greet both families. With both of our parents live out of state, we couldn't really relax over Thanksgiving. That's why we planned to take it easy, just the two of us, during the upcoming New Year holiday. Yet, I wonder how things ended up like this. It was a month ago. Tom suddenly showed me a brochure for a hot spring inn. "Let's go here for New Year's," he said. Thinking it would be a trip just for the two of us, I was delighted. Hot Springs. It's been a while since we've gone on a trip just the two of us. Did you make the reservation? But my joy turned to disappointment in an instant. Yeah, this inn is run by a relative. My parents are going, so they said we should join them, and they've made the reservation. What do you mean? So, it's going to be a trip with my parents and us, 4 in total. We're planning to pick you up in the morning, so please be ready. The thought of traveling with my in-laws was daunting. But being newly married, I didn't feel it was my place to complain, so I resigned myself to the situation. Then, an unexpected turn of events occurred. A week before the trip, while I was packing, Tom came home from work. Good timing. "We're going to stay over starting tomorrow, so hurry up and pack your bags." Wait, isn't the trip next week? I thought maybe he got the dates mixed up, but that wasn't the case. My brother and his wife are coming to stay at our parents' place starting tomorrow. It's the holidays, after all. And we haven't seen my brother in a while, so we decided to join them. What? I was too stunned to process the sudden change of plans. I wanted to refuse staying at my in-laws, but my inability to say no led to me departing with Tom. Truth be told, my relationship with my in-laws isn't great. During our engagement visit, my mother-in-law's comment about me being a reserved young lady hid an ulterior sentiment. More like gloomy than reserved. She remarked to Tom in the kitchen, thinking I couldn't hear. When we visited for New Year's greetings, my father-in-law, Bill, was harsh as well. "As a daughter-in-law, you should come earlier and help out around the house," he scolded. All I could do was apologize, and since then, I've been under constant pressure from my in-laws to have children, which has taken a toll on me mentally. Just the idea of traveling with them was daunting enough, but staying at their house made me want to flee. However, that wasn't an option, and before I knew it, we had arrived at my in-laws' Tom's car. As we opened the front door, my mother-in-law rushed over. "You're late. Emma, come help out in the kitchen." Upon entering the kitchen, I was greeted by an abundance of ingredients. "Please take care of dinner preparations." With that, she went off to the living room. As I stood there bewildered, I heard the sound of a car outside. It seemed my brother-in-law and his wife had arrived. Then, my father-in-law dashed out of the living room to help carry in their luggage. As I was wondering why he didn't do it for me, my brother-in-law's wife, Emily, entered. Emily is about 5 years younger than me and seems to have a completely opposite personality. It appears that my father-in-law is particularly fond of her. My mother-in-law also joined in, making a fuss over Emily. It's like a dream come true to have a grandchild on the way. I knew Emily was pregnant. And I understood why everyone was fussing over her, but the difference in how they treated us made me feel resentful. Even Tom, my husband, was showering Emily with attention. "Emma, could you get Emily a drink, please? Emma, how's dinner coming along? Could you at least prepare some appetizers first?" It's one thing for my mother-in-law to pile work on me, but why is Tom joining in on making me do all this? The next day, and the day after, it was the same routine, and I ended up crying alone in my bed. Then, on the morning we were supposed to leave for our trip, I was asked to deliver something to a neighbor's house. Despite the rush, it was a short distance away, so I left the house as I was told. I returned in about 15 minutes, but something seemed off. I tried to open the front door, but it was locked. I had been tricked. Of course, the car was gone too. Feeling completely lost, I received a call from my husband. Emily said she's feeling well, so we decided to take her with us. So, Emma, please sit this one out. I had heard that Emily and her husband wouldn't be going on the trip because she was pregnant, but apparently, since she felt well, they decided to take her instead of me. I couldn't tell if this was a sudden decision or if it had been planned all along. Maybe they're trying to push an unwanted wife towards divorce. At that moment, something inside me snapped, and I found myself smiling more than I ever thought possible. Is that so? Have a safe trip. Tom sounded a bit puzzled on the phone. Probably, he expected me to cry or cling to him. We're covering the lodging costs, so I'm going to use the usual credit card. I maintained my smile as I responded. Okay, got it. Now, what to do next? I had my valuables with me when I left the house, so I could manage to get back on my own. But the idea of just going back was frustrating. As I stood at the front door pondering my next move, someone called out from behind. Aren't you the wife from this house? It was Lily from the neighborhood. Known for being chatty, she had spoken to me on my first day here while I was cleaning the yard. I had ended up listening to her one-sided conversation for quite a while. At that moment, something clicked for me. Actually, I tearfully told Lily about being left behind from the trip and how I had been forced to work non-stop since arriving. I never thought I'd be left behind from the trip, and I didn't expect to be made to work so much. No one is even offering to help. I believe my performance was quite convincing. Lily listened to me with genuine concern. It's tough, isn't it? I wonder what they find so displeasing about you. I poured out everything that had happened to me. I've been left without a car, so how am I supposed to get back home? As I said this with tears in my eyes, Lily offered to let me stay over if I wanted. I hesitated, but eventually decided to accept her kindness. Upon entering Lily's house, I was greeted by her husband and son, who were both surprised. Lily explained the entire situation to them. That's terrible. Please feel free to relax here. Her husband and son welcomed me warmly. After entering the guest room, I immediately made a phone call to a specific number. It was to the credit card company. Tom had never owned a credit card before our marriage, but he started using my family card after we got married. So he would likely use this card to pay for the trip. Tom just wants to look good in front of others. I canceled the card and turned off my cell phone. During my stay at Lily's, I was treated with the utmost care. Whenever I tried to help with anything, I was kindly asked to just sit back and relax. I knew I had to thank them somehow in the future. Lily enjoys interacting with the neighborhood, often engaging in long conversations with anyone who stops by her front door. My story seemed to spread quickly throughout the neighborhood. I wonder what Tom dislikes about such a nice wife. While having dinner that evening, Lily sighed. Then, she started talking about Tom's past. You know, he's always had a bit of a wandering eye, even involved in some two-timing. That's when I learned a shocking truth. What happened to the girl he was supposed to marry before? According to Lily, Tom had been close to marrying someone else, but that person had suddenly disappeared. Hearing about his bad track record with women for the first time, I had a bad feeling. I decided to gather as much information as possible while I was here. I thought about waiting for Tom and his family to return, but I couldn't stand it and decided to go back by bus the next day. By then, I had become the pitiable wife of the neighborhood. Thanks to my convincing act and Lily's local network. After thanking Lily and her family, I decided to look for a detective to investigate Tom. When I turned my cell phone back on at home, I found several voicemail messages. None of which were of concern for me. The card's not working, what's going on? Make sure you clean the house. We're coming back tomorrow, so have dinner and baths ready for everyone. There was no apology whatsoever. But thinking about ending things with him brought a natural smile to my face. Even the voicemails were filled with verbal abuse. This could be evidence for a divorce case. The next day, Tom returned home. His first words were an insult aimed at me. What the hell have you been telling the neighbors about us? Don't mess around. I had no intention of engaging with him seriously, so I decided to play dumb. What are you talking about? People have been telling me all over the neighborhood how pitiful the wife is and how terrible the family is. I haven't said anything, though. Maintaining an oblivious stance, Tom eventually gave up and secluded himself in his room. For the next few days, there was no conversation between Tom and me. Then suddenly, I received a call from my mother-in-law, Emma. Come here and apologize. What are you talking about? The whole neighborhood is talking about how we're mistreating you. For the first time during our conversation, I couldn't help but smile. But isn't that the truth? What did you say? I've only spoken the truth. My mother-in-law fell silent for a moment, and I quickly continued. By the way, is Bill working late again today? He said he was, but what about it? I hope it's really overtime. It would be hopeless if both father and son had wandering hearts. What do you mean by that? That's all I know. Goodbye. Actually, I heard from Lily that my father-in-law was having an affair. Lily mentioned that while she was out shopping, she saw my father-in-law arm in arm with an unknown woman, disappearing into the bustling streets in broad daylight. Not only that, but other neighbors had witnessed similar scenes. And, as it turned out, Tom was also cheating. I gathered evidence of Tom's infidelity and consulted a lawyer. After the divorce proceedings were set in motion, and I was about to leave the house, Tom called me upon returning from work. Hey, my stuff is gone. What's going on? You'll receive a certified mail soon, so check that. What? I was a fool to have married someone like you. It seemed Tom realized what was happening. Emma, you must be misunderstanding something. I only love you. His sudden panic was understandable. It was clear that life would become difficult for Tom without my income. Especially since he claimed to be sending $400 a month to his parents, which turned out to be a lie. It was actually child support. It was finally time to confront him. What's this about a love child? You've been lying to me. How did you? And cheating with another woman, too? How could you do such a thing? It's not like that, Emma. The classic excuse of a cheater. How pathetic. And to think, you went on a trip to meet your child, leaving me behind at your parents' house. Meeting up with your loved child and the mother. Yes, that was the real purpose behind Tom's trip. He had arranged to meet his own child separately from the family during the trip. Learning this truth was shocking, but it solidified my decision to divorce. I was initially attracted to Tom's outgoing personality, which complemented my introverted nature. I thought I could overlook an affair or two out of fear of being alone after divorce, but this was too much disrespect. I finally woke up to reality. Of course, I'm divorcing you. From now on, you'll have to manage with your own income to pay child support for your secret child. Tom's affair partner turned out to be a waitress at a cafe we frequented. The thought of them laughing at me together while I was there too makes my blood boil. I demanded the numerous costs used on my credit card. Tom spent a lot of money on his affair with my credit card. Tom's affair became known at his workplace, leading to his resignation due to the judgmental looks from colleagues. He ended up returning to his parents' home, living on a part-time job. The affair also caused discord between my in-laws, turning family relations sour. My brother-in-law and his wife decided to cut ties. Although I never got along with them, Emily reached out with an apology after the divorce. It turned out we simply had incompatible personalities, and she was actually quite normal. She had been reluctantly dragged along on that trip too. I was relieved to hear her baby was born healthy. As for Tom's parents, they ended up selling their home and moving into an apartment. With the money, he paid off my credit card in one lump sum. My mother-in-law, who had never worked before, started a part-time job but apparently struggled due to her personality. My father-in-law became even more absent from home, with his whereabouts unknown. Tom has been having a hard time finding a job. The rural network can be surprisingly extensive. All of this information came from the people living near Tom's parents' house. I learned all this when I visited Lily to thank her again after my life had settled down post-divorce. That's when I found out Tom's family had moved, and Lily mentioned something surprising. My son would like to have a proper conversation with you, Emma. Would you mind contacting him if you're interested? Her son seemed like a calm and kind person. Initially hesitant, I decided to take a chance and reached out, thinking it might be fate. After talking, we clicked well and continued a long-distance relationship, leading to marriage 2 years later. I've grown to love him deeply, convinced he would never betray me. Lily has become my mother-in-law. 2 years later, we welcomed a daughter, and our family of 3 lives happily. My new in-laws adore our daughter and treat me kindly. It's been a strange twist of fate, but perhaps it was meant to be. That ordeal made me stronger. And I'm grateful for this turn of events.